company. Happy Valentine's Day to you all. And tonight, and today, or this morning, or this afternoon, wherever you are in this big wide world, we have the inimitable Michael Kerins from north of the border. Take it away, Michael.
Hi, everybody, and it's great to be here. It's not so long ago since I was in Morocco, and I had really the most marvelous time. And somebody was asking me about this coming event because it's only like 2 weeks ago, and I said, "Well, what I'm going to tell is I'm going to tell the story of birthday," and I didn't know it was cute Sir Mr. President King Louis Lindsay blah blah blahness of everything. Hi, Megan. Um, I didn't know it was Louis's birthday, but I did know it was this wee guy's birthday. And his name is Wee Tom. And I'm going to tell you the story of Wee Tom, but I'm not telling you that just yet. The first story I'm going to tell you is maybe even, it could even be a wee bit sad, but it's a very happy story. And it goes like this. Once upon a time, there was a wee girl who lived in a cold city in the north of Scotland, and she was on the bus with her mum, and she said, "Can we go upstairs?" And it's difficult to go upstairs with a child, and even more difficult to go upstairs with two children. So the big sister and the little sister and the mother, hi Lucy, and the mother went upstairs and sat in the bus. And it was raining, and it was the great word in this in Scotland is dreich. It was dreich and cold, and there was even water inside the bus in the windows. And the girl rubbed on the window, and suddenly the bus took a different direction. There was roadworks, and they went past shops she had never seen before. Start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. And at one point they were stopped for ages. And she looked out the window. She was a curious child, and in the window of a charity shop, she saw a second-hand teddy bear who was all leaning to the side like this and leaning against the window like she was leaning against the window. And the bear had a sad face. And she said to her mother, "Oh, Mum, I need to get that bear. I need him. And more than that, he needs me." But the mother was busy doing things and on her phone and looking after the little sister. And like I say, two girls upstairs on the bus in a busy time is a difficult thing. Anyway, the roadworks moved in this way and that way, then that way and this way, until they were back onto the ordinary route. And the girls went home. And when she was at home, all she could say to her mum and her dad is, "I need to go back and buy that teddy." And the mother said, "You don't want a teddy like that. That teddy's dirty and grubby and it's old and torn." And she said to her husband, "Why don't you get her a teddy tomorrow?" Well, he didn't get her one teddy. He didn't get her two teddies. He didn't get her three teddies. He got her four teddies. Four teddies. The first teddy was inside a little girl, a doll of a girl, and inside it there was a daddy bear, a mummy bear, and a baby bear. And it was the story, puppet story of Goldilocks and the three bears. And she said, "Daddy, that's very nice, but that's not what I want. I don't need that teddy. I don't need any of those teddies. And those teddies, they don't need me." And then he got her quite a plush teddy in a box with a big, big bow, pink, her favourite colour, a big satin bow, up and down like a big giant butterfly on the teddy bear's neck. Oh, it was a beautiful teddy. And the dad said, "Well, what about this one?" And he had to lean back like this because it was really, well, it was short of being a monster, but it was certainly monstrous compared to the child. "No, Daddy, I know what I want. And if you won't buy me, then that's okay. I'll take my piggy bank money and I will go and I'll go get it myself." So they went, nothing would she wouldn't be content until the weekend. The mother and father and the wee sister and the four of them went on the bus. But the roadworks were all removed. And it was back to the normal bus route. And nobody knew where the street was. So they got off the bus and they walked up this street and down that street and up this street and down that street, 3 or 4 streets, until she saw the charity shop. And there, sitting in the window, all sad, all wet, was the teddy. And the stuff in the shop was really, it was jumped up junk. That's what was in the shop. It wasn't elegant. It wasn't sophisticated. It was just, yeah, duff. So nothing else would have it. But they said, right, okay, we'll do it. If that's what the teddy you want to have, you have it. And the teddy was picked up. And as it was picked up, 3 drips like this, drip, drip, drip of water fell from the teddy onto the counter. The woman said, it's £1 for this teddy. The girl said, yes, that's no problem. And she got her piggy bank and she opened the little plastic rubber on the bottom of the bank and started to take out the money. And she had plenty of money. She had enough to buy the bear. And she gave the £1 over, put the coins back in, sealed up the teddy bear, she sealed up the piggy bank and put the teddy bear and the piggy bank into a bag. And she went home and she was so happy. And the mother said, you know, my darling Julie, this, you can't play with this teddy like this. This teddy is dirty, it's grubby, it's got a wonky eye, it's got a torn mouth. The whole chest here, the whole chest there is baldy. We're going to need to get repairs done on this. But the first thing we have to do is we have to put it in the washing machine and give it a thorough cleaning. And she tapped the head and she tapped the feet and she said, head to toe, top to bottom, it needs to be scrubbed up. So the teddy was put into the washing machine. The liquids were here and the powders were there and all the stuff. And Julie was allowed to press the button. Normally, children shouldn't touch electrical things like that. But anyway, she pressed the button. And as soon as the button was pressed and the teddy started to go round, her stomach, oh, round and round, oh, I feel, oh, that's horrible, it's horrible, I hate it, oh, I'm going to be sick. Calm down, said the mum, but she couldn't be calmed. And as soon as the washing machine stopped, oh, her queasy stomach stopped. And then the mother took the teddy bear out to dry it in the garden on the washing line. And she pegged the teddy bear up by the ears like this. Within 5 minutes, Julie had sore ears. Oh, my ears are so sore. Oh, my ears are so sore. Oh, 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 poor Ted. Oh, I know what he feels like. Oh, Mum, have I been stung? Mum, have I been bitten? Mum, is this red? Mum, is this angry? The whole day she had earache. And to some extent, so did her mother, because all lovely Julie would do was, oh, my ears, oh, my ears, oh, my ears, oh, my ears. And the child was far from being a hypochondriac. She never, ever complained of being unwell until this very thing had happened. The hours passed, and by the middle of the afternoon, when it was bright and sunny, well, the teddy was dry and the teddy came in. The mother looked at it, and the teddy was in a sorry state. There was a wonky eye. There was a squinty mouth like this. The mouth was all pulled to the one side. And this baldy bit there on the chest. Oh, what am I going to do? So they took a kind of special cardboard box and they put some straw in it, some velvet pink things. The big pink bow was made into a blanket, satin bow for a blanket. And they took it to the doll's hospital. And in the doll's hospital, they said, right, well then, here you go. What do you think of this? Well, the doctor, who's not really a person doctor, but a toy doctor, said, this bear is in a sorry state. You know, it might be kind just to put this Ted into the recycling. We can use the other eye. We can use some of the stuffing. Oh no, said Julie. No, 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 no. Teddy has to be repaired. If you can take that one eye out to put into your stock, I suggest we take one of your stock eyes here and give him his own eye back. The eyes are set out in three colours, three categories: colours, shape, and size. And they got the right colour, they got the right shape, and they got the right size. And there in the hospital, with a needle and a thread, the doll doctor, who's not a real doctor, the doll doctor threaded the needle and started to sew and sew. And when that was happening, Julie had the most terrible pain behind her eye. Oh, Mum, I think I've got something wrong with my eye. I think I've got. And sure enough, she had right in the corner of her eye a big red with a bright yellow spot, a big sty, sore as sore as sore could be. Well, that's okay. We'll get it fixed. We'll get it sorted. Julie's mum and the doll doctor, who's not a real doctor, said exactly the same time, don't worry, we'll get this sorted. And sorted it did. Took 3 days for Julie's eye to calm down. Now, the mouth. The mouth is all torn to the one side. Mm-hmm. After the 3 days, and the eye got better, they went back to the doll's hospital and they saw the same doctor, who's not a real person's doctor, but a toy doctor. And he said, yeah, I think I can fix this. I just need black thread and I'm going to stitch in the mouth. And he got the needle and the thread and he put it through. And now remember, he's not a real doctor, but a doctor for toys. And he licked it and he started to sew. And as he started to sew, Julie's mouth got so sore, like cold sores or something like this. And it was so itchy. And her mum said, don't scratch it, don't touch it, you're going to make it bleed. Well, the blood didn't come, but it was red and angry and red and angry. Oh, she couldn't stand it. But bit by bit, it started to calm down. And then the smile started to come. And the smile was wide and lovely. And oh, Julie was so happy. And she gave the doll doctor a little kiss and she said, oh, doctor, toy doctor, 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 toy doctor, doctor, you're a marvellous, absolutely wonderful physician. Thank you very much for being the best doctor for this Ted. He's just great. The doctor, who's not a real doctor, said to the mother, who is a real mother, said to Julie's mum, well, here's the thing. We don't have any of this fur. All his chest here, all there, baldy, and it's been rubbed and it's been hugged and loved and caressed. I think for decades. This is an ancient bear, decades old, and all the body fur has been rubbed off this bear. And I don't know what you can do about it, because you won't get anything to match that. Now, Julie's mum is a dressmaker, and back at her house, she's got all kinds of odd pieces of, including furs of teddy bear proportions, but not the right colour, not the right constituency, not the right kind of thing. It worked, but it didn't work exactly. No, that's no good. Hi, Kira. Hi, Georgia. That's no good. I'm just telling the story of Julie's teddy taking heart, and she's just getting a teddy bear repaired. And he said, well, I don't have any of that fur, so if you're going to take this home, you'll not be able to play with it. You'll just have to sit up on a shelf and just be looked at. And the bear will look at you, and everything will be fine. But it's ready to burst. And once it bursts open, they don't make that stuffing anymore, and they don't make this material anymore. It will be good for nothing. Julie's mum took the teddy home, and she saw how much her daughter loved it. And she saw that how gentle she was, just with her tiny little pinkies like this, giving it the most gentle, gentle, gentle cuddle and embrace you can imagine. Oh, Teddy, Teddy, Teddy. Oh, I'm so glad your ears are better. Oh, I'm so glad your eyes better. Oh, I'm so glad your mouth's better. And the mother looked and looked and looked again for some material, but she couldn't find anything that was suitable at all to make this teddy just so. Well, what can we do? And then the mother saw this very thick, plush, red velvet. The pile in the velvet was really deep, and she had a piece of it, and she started to sew it into the teddy. But the chest of the teddy went round like this, and the material wouldn't sit properly. And she turned it up again like that. And then suddenly, this magnificent heart shape started to take place. Big circle to the right, big circle to the left, and down into a point. Oh, the teddy bear's chest was now repaired with a full patch in the shape of a heart. And it was just the most lovely thing that you can imagine. And then she said, Mum, this is the teddy I want. But you know, you're always saying that I chose him and I could have chosen any teddy. I didn't really choose him. I think he chose me because he knew I would love him forever and ever. And then she said to her mum, oh, Mum, my neck's a bit cold. I'd like a scarf. And you know, I told you the mother was a great dressmaker and she made all these kind of things. Well, she knitted 2 scarves, one for Julie and one for Teddy, and they wrapped them up and they went out on adventures. And who knows, if I see you, I'll tell you what kind of adventures they had, because once they went to Edinburgh Castle, Julie and the Teddy and the family, and another time they went to the Kelpies, which are the largest horse statues in the world, not very far from where I live. But these are other stories for other time. That's the end of Julie's Teddy Takes Heart.
It's amazing, 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 amazing.
So that's a story I wrote for my goddaughter when she was a wee girl, just like the age of Kira or Georgia just now. She was just a wee tiny. And now she's 50 odds, I think, 55 or something like that. So it's a very old story that I wrote a long time ago. It's called Julie's Teddy Takes Heart. Now, I'm going to ask everybody to put their microphones on just for a minute to sing a song that everybody knows. Happy birthday. And we're going to sing happy birthday to two people. Louis, can you put on your microphone? Ready. So it goes like this, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. So it's going to be happy birthday to two people. Louis next week, because he won't be here. We'll do him first. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Louis. Or next week. Happy birthday to you.
Next
Hip, hip.
Hooray!
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 Cool.
Hooray!
Now, the other person we're going to sing happy birthday to is this little guy here. And this is Wee Tom. And this is a book I wrote when his birthday, and his birthday is on the 14th of February. And today is the 14th of February. So when the lovely John Rowe was asking who would like to do these cafes, I said I would like to do the 14th of February because it's Wee Tom's birthday and we can have a birthday party online with Nancy in America, with Kira and Georgia, who are sometimes in Belgium but now in England, I think. With Omar, who's in Morocco. So not only have we got different countries, we've also got different continents. Think about that. This is a story of Wee Tom's birthday. Once upon a time, there was a wee boy who had 5 names: Thomas, Patrick, James, O'Neill, Thumb. In lots of stories, they call him Tom Thumb. I don't. I call him Wee Tom. If we were Russian or Ukrainian or Estonian, we would call him Malchik Spalchik. If we were French, we would call him Tom Puss. If we were German, we would call him Daumling. But he's Scottish, I'm Scottish. His name's Wee Tom. And he has great adventures. And this is the adventure of his birthday. And every Wee Tom story you get Uncle Dan. And Uncle Dan is such an imposing and powerful figure that you can't see him, even with a great illustrator like Elaine Davies. Difficult to put all of Uncle Dan onto a page because he's such a massive guy. So, it was coming up to Wee Tom's birthday. And his uncle said, I'm going to play a trick on Wee Tom. I'm going to pretend that it is not Wee Tom's birthday. I'm going to do a make-believe and then play a practical joke. That's what I'm going to do. So he spoke to his sister, who's Wee Tom's mum, spoke to his brother-in-law, who's Wee Tom's dad, spoke to his mum, who's Wee Tom's granny, and said, I'm going to pretend every time Wee Tom mentions his birthday that it's not his birthday, and I'm going to change the subject. Just like that. Actually, everybody, the mum, the dad, the granny, everybody agreed, that's a good, let's play a practical joke. That was marvellous fun. So when Wee Tom came walking in, and he's only tiny, right? And he's walking on the table like this. And he said to his Uncle Dan, Uncle Dan, for my birthday, I think I would like the theme of my birthday to be cowboys and the Wild West. What do you think of that? His uncle said, have you seen my car keys? I'm talking about my birthday, Uncle Dan. Then he said, have you seen my cell phone? I'm looking for my mobile phone. And then he said, every single time Wee Tom mentions birthday, Uncle Dan changed the subject as quick as Winky. And then, listen to this one. When Wee Tom was in bed at night, Uncle Dan, who's a magnificent artist, started to draw. And he drew a cowboy-themed card. At the bottom of the card, he drew some quite big stones. And then he drew a big cactus. And then he drew a bright yellow sun up there. he drew a horse, a cowboy horse, and the cowboy's horse's front feet are called hooves, were up in the air. And on the horse, there was a cowboy who needed a shave, and his face was tough and scuffy. He had a moustache, and on his chest, he had a 5. That's wee Tom's favourite number because he's got 5 names: Thomas, Patrick, James, O'Neill, Thumb. He had a 5-point badge made of pure silver, and that badge had one word on it that said, Sheriff! And everything was there. And then Uncle Dan would take this card and put it up and hide it and keep it far, far away from wee Tom. Because the next day, wee Tom came walking in and said, Uncle Dan, for my birthday this year, I'd like my theme to be cowboys in the Wild West. And he'd slap his leg and go, yee-haw, like a real cowboy. And his uncle said, I'm looking for my keys. Have you seen my keys? Bunch of keys, have you seen them? Wee Tom was quite frustrated. But every time the birthday was mentioned, Uncle Dan changed the subject. One morning, about 5 or 5:30 in the morning, Uncle Dan got out of bed, tiptoed downstairs, put on his big, thick wintry jacket, because in February in Scotland it's very cold at 5:30 in the morning, and he put on his big jacket and his big thick boots, and he went out of the house, and he didn't stand on the path to go crunch, 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 crunch down the path. He stood on the lawn and walked down the lawn and opened the garden gate and looked this way and this way. He waited 2 or 3 minutes, and then round the corner of the story came Archie the postman, his pal, whistling. Hello, shh, just be quiet. It's wee Tom's birthday coming up, and I would like to play a practical joke on him. I'm pretending it's not his birthday. So what I want to do is get all his birthday cards, and I'm going to hide them above the fish tank so that wee Tom can't see them. I've got his own card that I made there with a cowboy, and it's all about the Wild West. A great horse, cactus, a bright yellow sun, and it's kind of set in the desert. Will you help me? And Archie said, sure. Uncle Dan got all the cards. On the 11th of February, on the 12th of February, and on the 13th of February. And he put them bundle by bundle by bundle inside rubber bands on top of the fish tank, on top of the aquarium place. On the morning of the birthday, Uncle Dan got up at 5:30, tiptoed downstairs, opened the door, and got a huge bundle of cards. There was over 1,000 cards for that wee boy. He gets cards from all over the world, from Morocco, from New Jersey, from England, and sometimes from Belgium. He gets them from all over the world. And Uncle Dan put those cards up above the fish tank and went back to bed. At 8 o'clock in the morning, wee Tom's alarm rang out, rang out, rang out. And he put 4 fingers this way and 4 fingers that way. And he said, hooray, it's me birthday. And he ran to the top of the stairs. Red is his favourite colour, which is why I always wear red things when I'm telling wee Tom stories. And he ran to the top of the stairs. He got a red tray, he pulled himself onto it, and then he started to pull himself closer and closer to the end of the stairs. And then he teetered and he tottered, and then he went flying, cascading straight down the stairs, bumpty bump, bumpty bump, bumpty bump. And as he looked ahead, he realised there was nothing soft and squishy to land on. And he said, Uncle Dan, help me, help me. Uncle Dan, save me, Uncle Dan. Uncle Dan was upstairs in bed. Uncle Dan had to take the pillow from behind his head and throw it in a perfect parabolic arc like this, right through the hall, over wee Tom, onto the ground, and wee Tom landed there and squished into the soft pillow, and he was saved just in the nick of time. And that's not the first time that wee Tom's life has been saved by Uncle Dan. He could have broken his arm. He could have broken his leg. Let me tell you, guys, he could even have broken his neck. Uncle Dan started to go downstairs. Wee Tom was at the front door looking for birthday cards. There was mail there. Archie did his job. All the cards were put aside and the regular mail was put through the letterbox. But it was of no interest to Wee Tom. Even important letters from the bank, from the blood transfusion service. Uncle Dan always gives blood. All the stuff was all going on there. Not one birthday card. Uncle Dan now is in the kitchen. The mum's there, the dad's there, the granny's there. Wee Tom came walking in. Uncle Dan spoke. Morning, pal. I'm just making boiled eggs. Would you like half of my... A full egg's too much for the wee boy. I'm just making boiled eggs. Would you like half of my egg? Would I like half an egg? I would like somebody to say, happy birthday, half an egg. Happy birthday. Much more in keeping with the day. And Uncle Dan looked at Wee Tom and said, it's not your birthday till the 14th. 14th of February. 14th of the month is your birthday. And Wee Tom was shocked. This is the 14th, he said, and he pointed to the space between his feet, and he pointed his fingers down and said, this is my birthday, and it's been stolen. Somebody's stolen my birthday. What am I going to do? And he was so upset and so grumpy and crying. Big, fat, salty tears came out of his eyes. Huge. They were cascading down his face let me tell you, they were cascading down his face like rivers, 2 rivers, from the corner of his eye, and he was licking the salty tears, and he was so sad, and then he wasn't able to breathe properly. He was gasping like this, and sobbing, and his voice was very strained voice like this. Help me, oh, Uncle Dan, my birthday's been stolen. Uncle Dan realised that the joke had gone too far. And he leaned up and he pulled all the cards down that were wrapped in the rubber bands, and he let Wee Tom ping the bands this way, and the next way, and the 4th way, and the 5th, because his favourite number. 5 bands were scattered across the room, and Wee Tom started to go through these cards, over 1,000 cards. Well, it was just a delight. Cards from America, cards from Zanzibar, cards from all over the world, from tall people and short people and fat people and thin people and black people and white people, and cards from China, cards from the Dalai Lama, cards from the King in London, cards from all over the place. Cards from a very famous woman who won an Oscar at another story called Wee Tom and Hooray for Hollywood. Wee Tom got to present an Oscar to this woman who had lost a very valuable ring with huge diamonds on it. He rescued it. Long story, another story for another time. Anyway, all of these people had sent Wee Tom a card, and Wee Tom looked at them all, over 1,000, and he was happy. And then he said to his Uncle Dan, I know why you were pretending it was not my birthday. I know why you changed the subject. because you forgot about my birthday and there's no card there from you. Uncle Dan said, yeah, there is a card from me. Uncle Dan's card never came in the rubber bands. Uncle Dan's card was still up there. So Uncle Dan lifted the card down and gave it to wee Tom. And when he opened that card and he saw that card there like that, he opened the card and he saw it. He wished he could horse ride. Now, in my family, we allow children to make 2 birthday wishes. When they blow out their cake, rather, when they blow out the candles, but not the cake, when they blow out the candles on the cake, they make a wish. And when they make a wish at the time that they were born at, I was born at 3:05 in the afternoon, that's when I make my wish. Just as luck would have it, wee Tom wished he could horse ride at the very moment he had come out of his mum's tum. And the horse jumped out of the card and came riding over to wee Tom. Now, Uncle Dan is such a good artist. He can draw that horse and that cowboy, and they speak in an American accent. Well, howdy, partner, said the cowboy. Would you like to learn to horse ride? I'll learn you, said the horse. And wee Tom said, are you a talking horse? Why, surely I am. Ain't you ever seen no talking horse before? I never have, said wee Tom. But I can't horse ride. And the cowboy, whose name was Wyatt Twerp, he was a twerp, right? He came off the horse and with his paper walked over and started talking with Uncle Dan. And the horse came down and wee Tom climbed on the horse and started going around the place. Clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop, clip, clop. And just for something to do, kind of absent-mindedly, Uncle Dan started to put salt cellar and pepper cellar like this together, and he put a spoon over it. And then he put some sugar cubes and then a zigzag of saucers and plates and cups and stuff, like a kind of little obstacle course. And just as wee Tom was about to say, this is marvellous, the horse said, boring. This is so boring. But he said it in the American voice. Why, partner, this sure ain't cool. This is boring as all get out. This is fantastic, said wee Tom. Boring, said the horse. The horse's name was the Texan Torag. His nickname was Tex, right? And he said, we need adventure. And the horse then spoke to Uncle Dan and said, hey, big guy, can you build me a super duper obstacle course there on the floor of this hallway in this kitchen? Can you do that, buddy? Well, he said, yes, he could do that. Uncle Dan can do everything. He can speak Italian, he can tightrope walk, he can fence, he can write poetry, he can. At one time, he put the circus, fire in the circus out. He is an all-rounder. He said, yeah, I can do that. And with 4 or 5 things that were lying about, some Lego bricks, some books, a camera, some CD boxes, and a piece of rope, a big piece of a hank of rope. All of these he put in a jiggledy-piggledy in the hall. And the horse said, well, now you're talking, partner. Now you are talking. What else you got? And the horse started to jump over these. And whoa, at that wee Tom. I said, oh, hold on tight. Lean back and lean forward, in and out of the jump. Relax. I'll learn you. And started to jump. And he was getting the point of it. And then Uncle Dan heard the horse say, what's behind this doorway here, bud? And he had to look in. And it was the living room Now, the curtains in the living room were still drawn, and it was gloomy and dark in there. Darkness, said the horse. Well, that's an element of danger I like. Behind the sofa in the living room, there was a triangle like that. And the horse went along. It didn't ride fast along it, just slowly clip-clopped along with wee Tom in there. And out the other side, he said, yeah, we're going to run along here. We're going to have we're going to have a race. We've got nobody to race against, so we're going to race against ourselves. We're going to do this whole course from start to finish. We're going to go under the television. Under the television was extremely dangerous with wires and electrical cables and all kinds of stuff was in there. The coffee table was low set. And it was so low set that the wee horse with the wee tiny boy on it had to crouch down really low to go underneath the bottom of the coffee table. But the horse said, you know, we're going to walk this. We're going to do this. We're going to do the whole thing. And they walked the whole course. But when they came out back into the hallway, Uncle Dan had put in 2 other elements. A water jump made from a thin tray that was narrow and broad and filled right to the brim with ice cubes floating in it. And then he put a vegetable grater, jaggy side up like this, jaggy side up like this. Scary, dangerous. The water is dangerous for a cardboard horse, and water's dangerous, even shallow water is dangerous for children. And of course, sharp metal, dangerous for everybody. Real horses, paper horses, real boys, paper boys, very dangerous indeed. But Uncle Dan knows what he's doing, and he gave good spaces between it that the horse could get up a fine gallop. And then the horse went to the front door, and they set a timer. 2. They jumped over the 5 obstacles. The camera, the books, the Lego, all the stuff, the rope, behind the sofa. Now, under the television, they were absolutely graceful as any ballet dancers you would see at the Bolshoi or the Palais de Danse in Paris and France. They were elegant and gentle, and not once did one single hoof or part of a hoof touch any of those wires. Not once. And then crouching low under the table, and then back out over the water feature with the ice cubes and the very jaggy vegetable grater. Jaggy side up, jaggy side up. When they got back to the door, they stopped. Uncle Dan pressed the stopwatch, 19 minutes and 52 seconds. Pretty good. That was good. That was actually good. That was good timing. But then the horse said, we can do better than that. We can go faster than that. Boys and girls, and people who are no longer boys or girls, but they're kind of older folk here too. The more you practice anything, the better you get at it and the easier it becomes. Practice being kind, becomes easy. Practice being funny, it becomes easy. Practice your handwriting, it becomes easy. Practice reading, practice a foreign language, practice complicated number work. Whatever you practice becomes easier and easier and easier. And that's what they did. And they brought that time down from 19 minutes and 52 seconds to 17 minutes to under 15 minutes. Never once did they touch the water. Never once did they scrape over the very dangerous jaggy side up vegetable grater. They never tripped over the electrical wires, never lost a footing in that triangle. And it was dark and gloomy in there, I tell you, it was dark and gloomy. But once that was all done, they got down to 8 minutes and 8 seconds. And that was it. It's called a personal best. And they were done. And we told him, like, come on, horsey, come on, Tex. And the Texan Torag, the horse, was too tired to even think about moving. Oh, no longer able to walk. It was just a trudge. Everything was so painful and so difficult. Come on, horsey, come on, Tex. They came back over. The horse refused, absolutely refused to have one more round. We did very, very, very well. But this magic is almost over. He trudged over to Uncle Dan, and Uncle Dan lifted them back up onto the table. Wyatt Twerp, the cowboy, with the 5, Tom's favourite number, because he's got 5 names: Thomas, Patrick, James, O'Neill, Thumb. The sheriff badge guy, he came over, and he said to me, Tom, okay, partner, down you get. Down you get. I was just on for a minute, 1 more minute, half a minute then, quarter of a minute. That's it. You know, it's game's up. Time's over. We need to go back into the card. And the cowboy and the horse started to go back into the card. Wee Tom was still on the horse. Started to go back into the... I wouldn't get off. Started to go back into the... And everything started to fall into place. The ponytail and the hat and everything. And he was there. And he didn't get off. And the magic stopped. That was it. Stopped. A panic. A panic for wee Tom. Uncle Dan, I can't get out of this car. Uncle Dan, help me, Uncle Dan, get me up. Uncle Dan, help me, Uncle Dan, save me, Uncle Dan. What's going on? Uncle Dan saying, what's going on is you didn't do what you were told. You were told to come off. And did you listen? Would you be told? Would you be told? You would not be told. That's it. Well, you have to get me out, Uncle Dan. And he was in a panic, like shaking and angry and stuff. So that was the end of it. You would pretty much think that was it. And wee Tom stuck in that card for the rest of his life. But Uncle Dan loves wee Tom, and he'll never, never, never let any danger or harm come to him. So he got a very, 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 that's 3 veries, very sharp knife called a scalpel. It's a long handled thing with a very sharp blade. And he put it against wee Tom's hip. And he drew it down the length of his leg on the outside, round his kneecap, and then down his shins until wee Tom could wriggle. And as soon as he could wriggle a bit, Uncle Dan plucked him right out of the cart. Uncle Dan, that was the best, the very best, the most incredibly best birthday that anybody has ever had in real life or in story life. Uncle Dan, that was fantastic. Uncle Dan said, that's good. And then wee Tom said, and then the Uncle Dan said for the first time, happy birthday, my darling boy. And he picked him up and he gave him a kiss and he gave him a hug and he said, I love you. And he did love him. And his mum said, happy birthday, darling boy, and gave him a kiss and loved him. And she did love him. And his daddy, happy birthday, darling boy, gave him a kiss. I love you. And he did love him. And the granny gave him a kiss and told him she loved him. And it was just perfect. And then wee Tom said, thunder. I can hear thunder. Uncle Dan said, it's a pale blue sky. There won't be any thunder today. Wee Tom said, I can hear it, Uncle Dan. I can feel it. Nobody else can feel it. Nobody else can hear it. And wee Tom said, look. And there, oh, what the thunder was wee Tom's tum rumbling because he hadn't had any breakfast, he hadn't had any snack, he hadn't had any lunch. It was 2 in the afternoon. 2 in the afternoon. Well, there you go. I think we should have a snack, Uncle Dan said to wee Tom, because Archie the postman gave me £20 for you to buy little ladders like hamsters get in a pet shop. You get these hamster ladders, and we're going to put these on the stairs so that you can go up and down the stairs without risking life and limb. So that's what we're going to do. So let's have a healthy snack and we'll get to the pet shop. And you know this, boys and girls, and people who are no longer boys or girls, but adults, when they went to the pet shop, wee Tom got lost in the hamster's cage. But that's another story for another time. That's the end of wee Tom's and hooray, it's me birthday. Now, Lucy Wood, Anderson Wood, if you have a look at the bottom of the stairs in the Strutland Cafe, you'll actually see a copy of this book lying there in your fabulous library. Have a look. It's great. So if you'd like to see some pictures of it.
Yeah.
So this is the cover. The cover of the book is dependent. It's always wee Tom standing on his uncle's hand. Can that get pinned, Waleed? Can you pin me? Waleed, can you pin me? Omar, can you pin me? Not to worry, I'll see if I can pin myself. Right. This is the cover of the book, and the cover is always the uncle's hand, and his jacket is something to do with the story. So wee Tom in the new bed, the jacket here will be pajamas. Wee Tom at the beach, it's a kind of Hawaiian shirt. Wee Tom in the Christmas tree, it's a Christmas jumper, and so on. And then here is Uncle Dan making the birthday card. And wee Tom's asking the questions about what I would like it to be about cowboys in the Wild West, and always the uncle's changing the subject. Have you seen my cell phone? Have you seen my car keys? And then he engages with Archie the postman. Now, Archie is a factotum in these stories. So at the wee Tom of the Sandcastle competition, he's the guy who gives out the deck chairs at the beach and stuff. So he's always got a useful job at the Easter egg. He works in the Easter egg factory when wee Tom gets put inside an Easter egg and kiosk goes on. That's the fish tank. And then if you read the words here, you'll see, and the plan was set, written through the fish. Well, that'll be back to front, of course. Sorry about that. And then after that, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. And wee Tom goes, hooray, it's me birthday. Now, when I do this with a group, I get them all shouting this out loud. And then he lands on the pillow. Now, this is the size of the pillow. The pillow is the size of the double-page spread of the whole book. So it's the corner of the pillow here, the very edge of the pillow. And there's the whole thing. And there's wee Tom very upset. Nobody going to wish me a happy birthday. Because at that point, he thinks his birthday has been stolen. And there's the birthday cards. And there's he wished he could horse ride. And then the horse comes alive and they have a conversation. And then they go jumping up and down over the things. I think there's several books, Lucy. I think there's 3 in the cafe. Salt and so there's the salt and pepper and the sugar cubes and the cutlery and stuff. And we, Tom, think this is marvelous, but of course, well, it's not really marvelous, is it? So they have a real obstacle course made with books, CD cases, cameras, rope, and building blocks. We couldn't use the word Lego in the text here because they're not allowed. It's a trade name. But no doubt when Wee Tom becomes when Wee Tom becomes a global sensation, they'll be paying me to use the words. Anyway, there you go. There's the vegetable grater, jaggy side up, and the tray of water. And there it's, and this is my favorite page in the whole book, where the horse has all the grace of the ballet. And then it's this time watch. So I use this to teach older children how to measure time. Subtract 19 minutes and 52 seconds as a starting time, and eventually end up at 8 minutes and 8 seconds. And I do that with birthdays. It's quite a complicated wee thing, but not got time to go into it tonight. And there's this going back and not doing what he's told. And there's very often a not doing what you're told situation for me, Tom, because he's a pain. And there's the cowboys taking them back on the horse. And there's panic set in. Wee Tom always wears red, which is why I always wear red when I'm telling Wee Tom stuff. And in the book, we weren't allowed to have a sharp knife. So he just gets magicked out of the book, kind of abracadabra thing. I don't know how that works, but there you go. And then that's him at the cliffhanger ending at the pet shop. So if you want to know how what happened to when Wee Tom got lost in the hamster's cage, then just ask me, because that's another story.
Michael, that was amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
A big round of applause, I think, Mr. Kerins there.
Hardly hear you. I need cheering and adulation.
Why, up what the day? Right. Anyway, enough of that. Enough of that. Happy birthday for next week, next Friday. Cute Sir Mr. President King Louis Lindsay Timmins. Hello, everyone. Omar, Waleed, Mike, Nancy, Lucy, and whoever else is listening who I can't see. And what's coming up? Well, next Friday, we've got Liz Weir doing our Friday session. Amazing Liz Weir from Northern Ireland. And before that, on both Sunday and Monday at 8 o'clock in the evening, we're having a sort of little get together of those of us that were in Marrakesh. Tell a very short story. Lucy's going to ring a bell if it goes over 30 seconds. And no, that's probably then and a few words about the festival, suggestions, etc., etc. We're running that over 2 nights for the people who can't get there. The first night we're doing it 8 o'clock in the evening because that's either very early in the morning Australia or very late somewhere else, and in India, I mean, it's just impossible to get it so everyone it's good for everyone. So we're doing it good for no one. And that's well, it seems democratic.
It's actually great for me, John. However, on Sunday, it's my my grandson's birthday. So I'm not being a storyteller that day. I'm being a grandpa.
Well,
So
yeah, no. Well, that's why we're doing it. It was on. It was because of you. We were doing it on Monday as well.
exactly,
So
as it should be.
yeah. So you join in the usual way through the gold button, I presume, Lucy. I think we're doing it that way. Yeah. But meanwhile, have a
Omar,
wonderful Valentine's Day
thank
wherever
you.
you are in this big wide world. And those of us, yeah. Sorry, Michael, you want to say something?
While I've got Omar online, Omar, can I have the details of the guy? Because I've now got funding to give the students up to £500 of prize money in the autumn. So I've spoken to Mike Wood about it, and we're going to come and make a presentation. So I would like to write this formally, because it's coming through the charities organizer. And we're going to have John Rowe's books, we're going to have Liz Weir's books, we're going to have Seth Townsend's books, we're going to have Colin Irwin's books, as well as cash prizes. So that will be in the autumn. So I would like to get that before we get too much further. Lucy, are you in Marrakesh at the moment?
No, I got back a couple of days ago.
Okay, well,
Mike's out there, although he's flying.
Well, if we can get Omar to get that off to me, I'll get this all written up and sent off to folk. Because the charity commissioners, they're not easy to get them to change their letters of organisation and stuff. It was work.
Yeah.
It was work to get it done, and I don't want it to not be done, if that makes sense.
Okay, Michael. Well, let's everyone's clear now. Waleed, are you clear about the you know where you're steering this magic carpet? Thank you, Waleed, for piloting tonight. We look forward to your aircraftsmanship for the next few nights.
So I'd like to
Piloting.
thank you to Nancy from my Zoom with Michael group. She's in New Jersey in the States. Nancy lost a lot of her speech after a kind of brain insult thing. So it's great to have you listening to these stories, Nancy. Marvelous.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Thank
so
you to
much.
Kira and Georgia as well, who are citizens of the world. Bye, guys.
I
Goodbye.
put a little message for Kira and Georgia, but they might not have seen it. And I was just wondering if they might like to join in the young storytellers thing and they might want to consider being a storyteller at some point.
When I resurrect that, Lucy.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
They wanted to, they might not want to, but if they did want to, and Louis as well.
Just keep an eye on the site. There's probably we will let February's exams get out of the way first before.
Kira and Georgia are the children of the guy. Their dad was best man at my son's wedding. That's how I know them. So I've known them since before they were born, kind of thing.
Great.
Okay, well, so we'll let the Facebook crew disappear. We'll let the live disappear. We'll disappear.
Thank you very much, everybody.
As if by magic, as like the magic of Michael's books.
Bye-bye.
Right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Louis.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.